Hello everyone, today we are taking a look at Shinigami covered by Noir Vesper. Now, I know Vesper because he's part of Tempus under holostars, and I've seen a few streams from him. I've seen him collabing with the other boys in holostars, but I did not have him pinned for a singer, and I know he isn't the most confident in his voice either, which is why I'm super excited to see his first cover. I know he sang in the group song for Tempest, but we didn't really get too much of his voice there. Here, this is just all about him. So I'm super excited to see how he's been working on his voice, how he sounds here, and just how he's able to sing. So let's just get right into things. I'm super excited to check this out. In 3, 2, 1, play. Ooh, okay. Ooh, I like this. Okay, we're getting, I know, pausing very early, but we're getting this pretty big dichotomy in the mix. We've got this big bass pulse, but it's very spaced out, and we're getting these muted strings over the top of it. So it keeps this odd mix between these very muted, sharp, flat, and I can't say sharp and flat, but I mean that more so in tonality and projection more than pitch. I'm saying it's basically the muted strings, we're not getting a whole lot of vibration out of that. We're not getting a whole lot of resonation out of that, but it's sort of a sharp treble-based tonality compared to that large bass pulse we're getting in the mix. We're getting these laid-back, breathy vocals from Vesper here, and it's pretty clean. I quite like how his voice is sort of going for this bass to mid-tone, and it's the breathiness helps it stand out in comparison to the very spaced out and I suppose the instrumentation that sort of pops out in the mix. Normally, this kind of instrumentation would kind of be the focus in most mixes because of how stand out it is. The muted strings, they pop out a lot. The big bass pulse, it's very impactful. It has a lot of presence. But because we've got those elements in the instrumentation backing up this very breathy, consistent, sustaining vocal track, that vocal track seems to stand out more than the instrumentation because we've got so much impactful presence in the instrumentation that the vocals shine through. Ooh. Okay, I love Vesper's vocals here, but the instrumentation for this song is incredible. I love just the massive bass presence. A lot of times when we get a lot of bass presence in a mix, it's hard to really catch on to. It can be overwhelming. It can be too much. This song it embraces that beautifully. I love how the bass has this consistent presence, and just the guitar and the bass guitar, the way they bloom in the mix through that impact, through that transition. And we're also getting these higher pitched vocals to match that. So while the bass is coming up in the mix, we're also getting more treble tonality as well. And he's hitting those notes. And you can hear as the bass pulls out of the instrumentation, we're getting more bass tonality from the vocals. So the vocals come up high as the bass comes out more, has greater presence in the instrumentation. And then as the bass pulls out of the instrumentation, we're getting lower vocals. That's a very beautiful lull, a very beautiful hook to have in any song segment. Nice. Okay, so transitioning from that dichotomy, we're getting there. We're having him slowly start to match the instrumentation in tonality, and the bass is still having a heavy presence as he comes lower in his pitch, and it sounds really good. I really like how Vesper's voice is sounding in this. He sounds good. And those backing vocals that come up high, and sometimes we get a little bit of a backing vocal layered on top of his main vocal. And I absolutely love that he didn't take the temptation of going for heavy pitch correction or digital alteration to his vocal track. He sounds beautiful here. And I'd say a lot of people, when they're not confident or if it's their first cover, you know, you'll hear usually it'll be a song that has heavy pitch correction, heavy vocal digitization. It can be a little overwhelming, but here he went for it. He went for an acoustic vocal. It sounds amazing. He sounds so good here. Nice. That transition right there, I like how they layered it. They had it sustained from the previous segment and then had a bass impact and went straight through. Right there. Keep going forward. I really like these pops, these clicks. I don't know if that's Vesper doing that or if that's just a digital effects that they have in there, but those pops, those clicks, they mix really well with such a bass heavy segment. You know, we're getting a lot of bass throughout this song, and a lot more bass than you'll usually have in a mix, I'd say, unless you're going towards maybe like a rap genre or something more electronic dance music, something like that, where the bass is sort of just there, sustaining throughout the entirety of the song. This is a very tasteful usage of bass. I really, really like how the bass is being used in the song and how the vocals are playing with it. Sometimes we get the vocals up high to contrast with the bass, and then it'll descend to match with it. We'll sustain for a bit, and then we get these pops and these clicks to add variation in the mix. This is a very fun song, and it's really making a wonderful impression for Vesper's musical career going forward. We're getting some vocal. I will say we got some vocal suppression, some digital effect on his vocals for a little bit there, but because it was, you know, I think a lot of times I can judge a bit harshly when it comes to vocal suppression, when it comes to digital effects on vocals, and the reason for that is because I think there always should be a very good reason if you're going to diminish the effect of a vocal track. Here, I think that was a perfectly fine way to use it. It was just for an interjection, adding some variation, and then we're back to the acoustic vocal, back to showcasing Vesper's voice. Nice. That was really good. I would say, you know, normally I would say I want a little more of a demeanor change on such a switch up, but it was still really good. I still really like that. And those little laughs in the back of the mix. And Rada. I like how the guitar matches him there too. Up high. Nice. Nice. That was an interesting high synth there in the mix. up high, and then it descends. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so we had the high synth, and then it descends, and then for the next segment, for the next line, we're having the bass come up more in the mix now. So we sort of had this big dissension from getting the treble focused tone, bringing it down, and then letting the bass increase in the mix. That's a really subtle but very nice way to add progression, add continuity, while still keeping things varied, still keeping things interesting. Oh, nice. That was a bit of an abrupt cutout, but it was nice to just have that little exhale at the end, like he's blowing out a flame. That was very, very nice. I'm very, very happy with this cover. I think, obviously, there's room to improve as a vocalist, of course, for everybody. But obviously, this is his first cover. I think you can hear that he's not the most confident in his vocal inflections, but we're getting some good pitch control, some good breath control, and just some good vocal support from Vesper here. I really like how he had this breathy vocal, but we had him switch it up a bit. We had him bring it up high. We had these vocal lifts, and for the interjections we got, and then we also had him bring it down low. We had him really go for that abdominal support, for those low bassy tones, and he handled it really well. I really like how he presented his voice in this cover, and this is a stellar first cover from Noir Vesper. I'm very, very happy. So thank you very much for watching. As always, feel free to recommend more in the comments below. Aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much.